AEW has made their debut down under this past Saturday with Grand Slam Australia, a show that if you are a person that does marketing, you'd probably jump off a window, simply because of the fact that this show was marketed and promoted very poorly, moving venues to fans not knowing whether or not this show was going to be a pay-per-view or a television special, and the fact that this show is basically just a collision on steroids. For AEW's first show in Australia, how do they deliver? I'm yours truly, Flamin' Ricky DeRays, and these are my thoughts on AEW Grand Slam Australia. Before we get into all of this craziness, please make sure to like and subscribe to the Wrestle Havoc channel right here on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the freaking referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications. So what can I say about Grand Slam Australia? Well, for starters, it was a show that I had very little interest in. I'm not saying that the build was bad, but I just felt like there was really nothing of importance with this show. For starters, let's talk about the main issue of Grand Slam Australia. And the main issue is not even involving the show itself. It was everything leading up to this show that was the issue. If you guys didn't know, Grand Slam Australia was originally set to take place at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane, Australia. That venue holds roughly up to 50,000 fans. Now I'm going to stop right there. AEW is set to have this show take place in front of 50,000 fans at a time when they are currently on a down period, and they are just not as hot as they were in years prior. It was a very ambitious move on AEW's end, and I'll give them that, but trying to sell tickets to a stadium when you can't even fill normal size arenas here in the States is crazy, and that ended up leading to poor ticket sales with the show, which led to AEW forcing to move the show from Suncorp Stadium to the Brisbane Entertainment Center. That venue holds roughly around 10,000 fans. That is not bad at all, but again, that's a big downgrade from the stadium that they originally booked. Not to mention, booking a venue that big for a show, you, the fan, aka the consumer, would think that this show would be a pay-per-view, but it wasn't. In fact, we didn't even know whether or not this was going to be a pay-per-view. We found out weeks ago that this show was going to be airing on TNT and it was going to simulcast on Max at 8 p.m., but that led to another issue. So there's this thing called the NBA All-Star Game. You guys might have heard of it. It airs on the same day as Grand Slam Australia. The issue was that even though it was advertised earlier on that it was going to air at 8 p.m., we didn't realize that the All-Star Game was going on TNT as well. The NBA All-Star Game starts at 8 p.m. and the game normally ends at 10:30. We literally did not know what time this show was going to start. Even worse, we were going to have to watch this show on a 20-hour tape delay. Now think about this. Imagine if AEW hadn't moved venues and stayed at Suncorp Stadium, and us fans outside of Australia were forced to watch this on a tape delay. That would absolutely suck. This show literally went from being advertised to one of AEW's biggest shows that they have produced to a glorified episode of AEW Collision. And what was even funnier was that the NBA commentators, while they were promoting AEW, literally said, be sure to check out All Elite Wrestling Collision. Also, if you watched the show on Max, Grand Slam Australia was listed under AEW Collision, so technically this is a Collision episode, even though the Collision logo was nowhere to be found. All of these issues could have been avoided if AEW was more clear on how we were able to watch the show. But apparently communication is a big issue in AEW. Not just backstage, oh no, but in promotion and advertising as well. Jesus Christ, this company, man. Not to mention that Tony Khan stated in a recent interview that this show airing on TNT and Max was always the plan. But some recent events contradicted that statement, because in the weeks leading up to Grand Slam Australia, AEW accidentally advertised on Twitter that Grand Slam Australia was going to be a pay-per-view. But the tweet was quickly fixed. Bro, who is working on their social media team? This company is literally ass backwards. Now let's talk about the actual show, shall we? I actually thought the show was really good. Every time when either WWE or AEW enter in a new market, the crowds are always electrifying. No pun intended. The crowd in Brisbane, Australia did not disappoint. Y'all were loud and y'all were amazing. First off, AEW actually used a smaller ring for this show. I didn't really notice it until people on social media started to mention it. Apparently there was an issue with AEW sending their standard ring over to Australia, so this led to AEW borrowing a smaller ring from a local independent promotion. Bro, the fact that this show had so many promotional challenges and almost didn't have a ring is crazy. Bro, what? Bro, it's like this show was cursed. Tony Khan came out before the show even started, like he always does, and got booed out out of the building. This guy literally went from being the biggest babyface promoter in all of wrestling to the biggest heel in all of wrestling. It's crazy how times have changed. But once he stated that AEW was returning to Australia next year, the crowd started cheering. That shit's so funny, by the way. Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita was the perfect match to kick off the show. Former enemies turned partners faced off against the top two men from their former faction, which was, of course, the Don Callis family. From the moment this match was announced, you knew this match was going to be a banger. Look at the match that Kenny had with Takeshita a couple years ago at All Out, and look at the caliber of matches that Will Ospreay had with Kyle Fletcher these past couple months. Both of those feuds elevated Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher to the next level. Let's be honest, Takeshita is a freaking menace in the ring. Not to mention the great work that AEW has done to really make us believe in Kyle Fletcher potentially being a main event player. This match was great not only for the in-ring chemistry with all four men, but the fact that the crowd was 100% energetic the whole time. Seeing Kenny and Ospreay team together is surreal. I am definitely digging their dynamic. In the end, Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay hit a new finisher, which is basically a combination of a hidden blade and a one-winged angel, which looked sick. And Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay ended up getting the win. Next up was Mercedes Moné versus Harley Cameron for the TBS Championship. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I was not that big into Harley Cameron, but as we've seen throughout the past couple of weeks, she's starting to get over with the fan base, and she's becoming more and more popular. Mercedes Moné, on the other hand, is currently the TBS champion, and her work throughout the past couple of months hasn't really been that interesting to me, to be honest. And I'm a big fan of Mercedes, by the way. Everyone expected Harley to pull up the upset and beat Mercedes for the TBS title, but that did not happen, and it left fans a little upset. But I wasn't one of those people, considering if they had Harley win the belt early on, what was AEW going to do moving forward with Harley Cameron as the TBS champion? Harley is still relatively green when it comes to her in-ring work, but as you saw in that match that she had with Mercedes this past Saturday, she looked really good. If AEW is serious about possibly pushing Harley Cameron, I think it's in AEW's best interest to build her up throughout the next couple of months. But as of right now, Mercedes Moné is still your TBS champion. We had Edge. I refuse to call this man Cope. Bro, like seriously, what kind of a name is that? And Switchblade Jay White to take on Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli of the Death Riders. Now, you already know my thoughts on the Death Riders. If not, watch this video. The link will be in the description below. And I am in full acceptance that the Death Rider storyline is an absolute fail. There, I said it. Adam Copeland will be facing Jon Moxley next month at Revolution. And this tag match is basically a preview of what we're going to be seeing between the two men next month. The match overall was really good. Again, I have to mention the crowd. You guys sang Mandalingas without the theme even playing. If that is not GOAT status, I do not know what is. The match delivered as advertised. It was a Brisbane brawl. The match took place all over the friggin' arena. There was constant interference with Death Rider members. Of course, why not? Wheeler Yuta got involved, whipping Jay White with the leather belt, and Jay was no-selling it, which led to him hitting the Blade Runner on Wheeler Yuta. Then we had a back body drop by Cope on Claudio, leading to a spear through a table. This dude was about to hit Mox with the barbed wire concerto, only for Marina Shafir to get involved and Yuta taking him out. That led to Jon Moxley coming in and applying the Bulldog choke, which led to the Death Riders getting the win. Now, with the Death Riders going over, I'm now starting to think that Adam Copeland could possibly win the AEW World Championship at Revolution. If you really want to get the Death Rider storyline over with, I mean, you might as well give the belt to Cope. We had Buddy Matthews versus Kazuchika Okada for the Continental Championship. Why does AEW have both a Continental and an International Championship? I mean, seriously, there's just too many titles in AEW right now. Okada's entrance was freaking fire. Buddy Matthews was the hometown hero in this match, and the crowd absolutely loved him. The match itself was as physical as you could get, with both men showcasing all of their strengths in the ring. But in the end, Okada ended up getting the win and retained his Continental title. Now, all I need is that Okada versus Takeshita match. Inject that shit in my veins. And finally, we had Mariah May versus Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you, Mariah May's AEW Women's title run has been an absolute flop. There's really nothing of importance that she's been doing throughout her reign as AEW Women's Champion. From the moment she won the title at All In last year, it felt like AEW just did not know what to do with her. If anything, Mercedes Moné is treated more of a main star in the women's division than Mariah May. Now, I know Mercedes Moné is the more recognizable star. I understand that. I am not disputing that. But Mariah May is the Women's World Champion. Mercedes Moné is the TBS Champion. Last I checked, the TBS title is a level below the Women's World title. title. The TBS title is a mid-card belt. I don't care who holds it. But aside from that, the story that AEW has been telling with Toni Storm has been tremendous. The timeless Toni Storm character is one of the best things that AEW has done throughout its 5+ year history. Toni Storm throughout the past 2 years has completely reinvented herself, with the timeless Toni Storm gimmick leading her to win championship gold. She held the women's title until, of course, Mariah May won the Owen and turned on Toni Storm with that amazing segment, which of course led to All In at Wembley Stadium with Mariah May defeating Toni Storm for the AEW women's title. Since then, we didn't hear a peep from Toni Storm. That was until she made her return a couple of months ago. But not as timeless Toni Storm, but just Toni Storm, as if she was a rookie getting her start in AEW. And then, of course, they would do the slow build with Toni Storm transforming into timeless Toni Storm. Great stuff. And one of the things that I love about the timeless Toni Storm gimmick is that it screams originality. Like, even though Toni Storm did come from the WWE, timeless Toni Storm just does not feel like somebody coming from the WWE. It's like a completely different gimmick, and it's their own thing, which I love. Toni came to her home country with the crowd 100% behind her and had a great match with Mariah May. This led to her getting the win and winning the AEW Women's World Championship for a 4th time. A great hometown moment for somebody who truly deserves it. That being timeless Toni Storm. Now all she needs to do is challenge her greatest rival,
Wendy Richter. I'm gonna fuck you up.
Bro, I'm telling you, that match is gonna make bank. Overall, what were my thoughts on Grand Slam Australia? Minus all of the promotional issues that this show had faced primarily on AEW's end, I thought it was a great show. The crowd felt energetic, and they were constantly on the edge of their seats, and each match delivered and didn't disappoint. But yeah, those were my thoughts on Grand Slam Australia. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Push that bell for notifications and be on the lookout for more videos right here on the Wrestle Havoc channel, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the freaking referee would say, ring, ring, ring that damn bell for more notifications. And as always, it is yours truly, Flamin' Ricky DeRays, signing out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.